Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Om salutations to Bhagavan Ramakrishna. Disengage to engage. This is the principle, and it's pervasive. It can be used everywhere, and this is especially true in yoga. We have a body, and we have the senses, the motor and the sensory organs. And this engages with the external world. I would go in further to say that they are two parts of one whole. Try to live or exist without the external world. It's impossible. But of course, to think that this is all of reality is a big mistake, because Yoga and Vedanta says that you have to disengage your senses and your body from the external world. Now, if this was not possible, I mean, is Yoga and Vedanta telling you something that's untrue? It can never be. Because Yoga and Vedanta is nothing but experience. It's based on experience. It's an experiential philosophy. The only thing they add is you think that this is the only level of reality, whereas there are multiple levels of realities. Or to be more precise, there are multiple levels of consciousness. That being said, we have to disengage, ideally, a mind from everything and plunge it into the Atman. You, you have to engage with the Atman by disengaging the mind and the senses from the external world and from other various levels of it. The Upanishad says, having meditated on the Atman as bodiless amongst the bodies and as permanent amongst the impermanent, as great and as all pervading, knowing this, a wise person does not grieve. So the verse is very clear. So you have to disengage from the world and plunge yourself in the Atman. And the Atman, as I say, is bodiless amongst the bodies. Ashariram sharireshu anavasteshu avastitam mahantam vibhumatmanam matva dhiro na sochati. These are very powerful, powerful mantras, words. We'll come to what Swamiji says. He says, the mind is not the body, though it is material or matter in very fine or subtle form. It is not eternally bound by the body. This is proved as we get occasionally loosened from it. And if we can learn to do it by will, this is what is called yoga. When you can detach your senses and your mind at will from the body. This is called yoga. And as he says, this is proved when we get occasionally loosened from it. Some of you, maybe most of you, may have experienced this. And this is a phenomena that has been uh, studied for some time now. A lot of people experience something like out of body experiences, or something like near death experiences, or in very genuine trances when the subtle body, the mind body, let's say, gets loosened from the gross body. And what connects these two together? The sensory and the motor nerves. So the mind can detach itself at times, and you can get a feeling of disengagement from the body. It's a very elevated feeling. Ordinarily, the world is too much with us. It impinges on us, and we are engaging it with it variously. It's one of the reasons why a mind is kind of clouded or crowded, I would say, with material objects. And then when you look for spirituality, your spirituality also becomes kind of material. People want spirituality. Why? Oh, I want health and well being. What's that? Yoga can detach you, disengage you from everything, including health and well being also. And it'll give you the highest. Swamiji again makes another tremendous statement. When we can do that fully, that is, when we can get loosened from the body through our own will, we shall control the universe, because our world is only what the senses bring to us. Now, this is a tremendous, like I said, a statement. You can control the universe if you can get away from the senses, disengage yourself from the senses. The Bhagavad Gita also says that which is called yoga is actually a form of detachment. And this has to be practiced with steadfastness and with an unerring mind. Tam yogamiti manyate sthiram indriya dharanam. Here also in the Upanishad we have that which is called yoga is keeping the senses steady. And the Bhagavad Gita, they say, Tam vidya dukkha sangyogam viyoga. Saying yoga is to disengage with pain. What is meant by pain? The world. Yeah, the world is a big pain. And that is called yoga. So we also get another illustration. Like a tortoise withdraws its limbs, it disengages from the world and gets inside. Similarly, the senses can be retracted, disengaged from everything. You will have everything around you, but you will not be able to perceive it at all if you can pull your senses back in. Then again, the scriptures give you an example of different levels of our realities. Now, let me be clear. What is here inside is also there outside. You've got to go stage by stage, disengage from one level, engage yourself with the next level, and then Detach yourself from the second level and go to the third level. The Bhagavad Gita says, they say that the sense organs are superior to the body. The mind is superior to the sense organs. But the intellect is even superior to the mind. And the one, that consciousness, the soul, is even superior to the intellect. So here you have a kind of a graded structure. You need to disengage from one, engage the second one. So you get away from the body and the senses by slowly withdrawing. Like the tortoise pulls in its limbs, so also you pull in. So what does it happen inside? What happens inside? You are getting into higher and higher subtle worlds of consciousness within you. And your experience is so indubitable, so you can say solid, rock solid. You will know immediately that this is a higher stage of consciousness. Before we can go into how to go about it, if you can sit down perfectly still for a length of time, that stillness is essential to disengage yourself from the external world. And as the body becomes perfectly still, your breath becomes fine and slow and shallow. And as the breath becomes subtle and fine and shallow, these forces, they impel the senses. The senses are quietened. And when the senses are quietened, the mind becomes quiet. What is actually felt? You will feel a kind of a great lift. You feel as if you are lifted from one level to the next. It's a tremendous feeling. But this has, as the scriptures say, has to be done slowly. Shanai Shanai Uparamed. The Bhagavad Gita says one should gradually withdraw or disengage with the intellect endowed with steadfastness, making the mind fixed on the Atman. And at that time, don't think of any other thing. So you're using your buddhi, your intellect, as a kind of a lasso. You're drawing things towards you more and more and more. So this is the instrument through which one can raise oneself slowly. Let's go in for a short exercise. I think that'll, yeah, get ready for. Before we can go into it, I just want you to have a look at this, just to fix here. If you can see it, it's a flame. Can you see it? I think. Yeah. Let the image yet fixed in your mind. Okay. Now close your eyes, please. Now watch the screen of your mind. Look at all the rough and tumble and the jumble of thoughts running across the screen. Watch it like a neutral witness. Now superimpose the flame you saw, the flame of the candle, on that screen. Superimpose this flame and gaze at that flame only. Forget everything else. You have disengaged yourself from all thoughts and have engaged with this new image. Keep gazing at it, please. Now, that flame which you see on the screen of your mind, try to enlarge it. This flame actually is a reflection of the real flame which is behind your forehead. Now gaze at that real flame behind your forehead. Give the reflected image up and gaze only at that flame behind your forehead. This is the real flame. Now keep on shifting that flame to the center of your brain. Slowly disengage from that location and shift the location of the flame to the center of your head. Now just gaze at this flame. Okay, let go. Take a long deep breath, please. You get the idea. You are disengaging from one level and going to the next, and then once again disengaging with that particular place, and again getting engaged with something which is even deeper. This is the methodology of how one goes deeper and deeper inside. Those who have an chosen ideal to meditate can use the chosen ideal, a symbol or an image or any picture of any god or goddess, or those who also have a mantra can also repeat the mantra while doing it. This is the way how one slowly pulls oneself, disengages from one level, and gets engaged with the other. Those who do not want any kind of image or any visualization They can simply become aware of the screen of the mind, then become aware of the other screen in the mind, which is behind your forehead, your cerebral cortex, and then go down deeper and watch another screen of the mind. By the time you've reached there, your thoughts have become subdued. It is more subjective awareness. This outside is objective awareness. As you draw yourself inside more and more, it becomes more and more subjective. To hold on to this subjective awareness for many, it's difficult because they might fall asleep. So that's the reason why most of the scriptures they recommend an image where you can steadfastly gaze at the object and get deeper and deeper and deeper inside. Okay. Generally, when we talk about disengaging our mind, it is extremely difficult. So we have to start with disengaging ourselves from the thoughts that are like ripples on the surface of the mind. If you can do that over and over and over again, you detach yourself, disengage yourself from thoughts. You've come a very long way. And to disengage from the senses, as I mentioned, one has to be perfectly still. That is the only condition for yoga. There are many conditions. The primary condition is sit down still. All the forces in your body then becomes, as I say, harmonious, rhythmic. They don't impel the senses powerfully outside. And as they become more and more subdued, the mind becomes calm. So we are using a simple mechanism to rise to our higher inner levels. The first thing that happens is as you start disengaging yourself, when your body gets disengaged from the world, and as it gets deeper, and as the senses then are disengaged from the body, you will feel an absence of these two things, time and space. You will not know which direction you are sitting and facing, or where you are sitting, or what time is it. This is acutely felt. And many people, they open the eyes to again engage with the world. I recommend don't open your eyes. This is a natural step when time and space are, as it were, still. Time and space can be conquered as the mind is completely conquered. As Swamiji says, then you can conquer the universe when you can, through will, detach your senses from everything else. So, this is the process of disengaging from one level, getting into the next level, and then disengaging from the second level, going to the third level. At each level, the world inside is more pervasive. People think, oh, this external world is vast. You don't know what the internal world, how vast it is. It's vast, vast, vast. Unimaginably, you can say, pervasive. You, as it were, are traveling from one level to the other. And each level has its own challenges, each level has its own rewards. Tremendous feeling of, you can say, conquest. It's like an adventure. So, this is how we slowly move deeper and deeper and deeper into ourselves. We'll do this exercise once more. And as I mentioned, I would suggest you sit down still and straight and look again at the flame. If you can't look at a flame, look at the whole thing. It doesn't matter. I just want you to have this image where you can superimpose on your thoughts. Close your eyes and be perfectly still. Use your will. Slow down your breath. Keep your gaze fixed on a spot just outside your chin. Now watch the screen of your mind. Is that screen behind your eyelids, as it were? Watch the thoughts just as a witness. Don't react to anything. Now superimpose that image of the flame of the candle on the screen. Fine tune your gaze, please. Increase the size, the dimension of the flame. That is a reflection of the real flame behind your forehead. Now fine tune your gaze at this flame behind your forehead. Now slowly pull this flame deeper in the center of your head. Towards you. You are pulling the flame towards you. You are somewhere in the middle of the head. Now watch that flame. Now keep on pulling that flame where you are really stationed. Pull it deeper inside. Just gaze at the image, nothing else. Okay, let go. Take a long, deep breath and slowly open your eyes. As I mentioned, you can replace it, the image, you can take any image you like. This is how you disengage and engage. You can't really engage without disengaging from other things. And this will lead you deeper and deeper and deeper inside. Always remember, try to draw in that image where you are stationed, where your subjective consciousness is most evident. That will keep you grounded there. And as you practice, you will feel your subjective awareness getting deeper inside. Draw in that image wherever it goes in. However deep it goes in, keep it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We stop here for questions. You can type in your questions in the chat, please. While, okay, there's one question here on the YouTube. Uh, can I enlarge the flame but have problems? I can enlarge the flame but have problems putting it in the center of my head. I can put it in my heart as you have suggested before. Why can why can I see this in my heart but not head? Well, you can, if you can keep it there in the center of your head. Do it. I wanted in today's session to be kind of more on the cognitive level. But if you can move that flame in your heart, nothing like it, because that is another center of consciousness, an ideal center of consciousness. This is another center of consciousness. This is another center of consciousness. I just wanted to have a little kind of variety. People should not think I'm only insisting on, I can say, concentrating on your heart's consciousness. You can. Thank you for the question. The another question is, it hurts when the focus is at the center of the head. How to handle? It's not hurting actually. That mind is restless, and there's another part of the mind trying to restrain that restlessness. That's the reason why that you feel that there's a kind of a hurt. Secondly, when you are trying to visualize this image of a flame, here, don't keep your eyeballs, don't squint. That's very important. And thank you for the question. I don't want you to squint. Your eyes will be gazing here, just outside here. While your eyeballs are gazing out here, you are, as it was, looking inside. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of like a hen hatching eggs. There's a kind of a blank look outside. All its attention is on the eggs inside. So that's the way one has to do this exercise. Because when I'm trying to ask you to visualize the flame here, you try to look at that flame through it again through the gaze of your eyes. Your eyes converge here, and that is the reason why uh, it could be hurting generally. So to eliminate that, keep your can say gaze fixed here, and your internal gaze will be through the mind's eye. If that is clear, I think it'll take care. Okay. Uh, there's another question. How long do we do this for? It is slightly tensing the head towards the end of the yeah. Yeah, this is a truly an intense, you can say, exercise. Don't, if you're not used to it, do it in very low doses, very short duration. I I would insist that you do it slowly, and but you must be able to do it. Why? Because you are, as it were, drawing in the, you can say, the senses back in. It's like you have a horse and then you're pulling at its reins. That is the tension. You're using your strength. So so do it according to your own level of comfort. Don't push it too fast, too hard. Do it slowly. And as the body and the brain and the mind gets used to it, you'll be able to do it for a longer, you can say, length of time. What is the difference between the forehead and the center of the head? It's just that your consciousness is it's externalized. Okay. And the idea is I want to you to retract your consciousness from this, this. It's just step by step you go inwards. So there is no difference, but it's just that I want you to have this exercise in trying to withdraw your sense of awareness, which is here. Generally, when we speak, your awareness is here. When you see, your awareness is somewhere here. When you're thinking, your awareness is something here. But much deeper inside is your awareness, and that you're trying to pull back. So that's the idea. And in the second exercise I'd given you, that you can pull it wherever you feel you are situated, where your subjective awareness is situated. So pull, pull back. So it's just an exercise for us to get deeper into our own consciousness. Is it possible to gaze from the heart and forehead at the same time? Yes, it is possible with true practice, of course. I would suggest you take up one location at a time. If you're comfortable with your heart, go for the heart, because I don't want to divide your energies meaninglessly. The idea is we must be able to focus on one image for a length of time. Because if you divide your awareness in two areas, year and year, your mind will switch between these two. It cannot see both the images simultaneously. It will switch. The switch is very fast. So you might think, yeah, it's there. I'm seeing it at one point of time or doing it together. Never. the mind runs between these two. So use one. If you're comfortable with this, go ahead with this image here. If we keep going deeper and deeper with the goal of being realizing the realization of Atman, how do we have that realization when Atman is beyond name and form? Doesn't the ability to hang on to an experience require name and form? Ah, yeah, that's a nice question. Thank you for the question. As you get deeper and deeper, that same Atman you will find has also taken a name and form. So it's a your first realization will be of the Atman as conditioned name and form. And that is the realization of your individual soul. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example. You will see your soul like a flame. Now you're saying, my God, then is this the conditioned Atman? Yes. Your jiva, your individual soul is nothing but the conditioned Atman. The Atman is beyond name and form. And then what happens is, like, okay, like an ice cube which is falling down in the water. What happens to that ice cube? Your conditioned Atman, as it were, melts into that unconditioned Atman. And then what happens? You will have that experience, a tremendous experience. You will not be able to articulate it, but as you come down to the unconditioned, like Shri Ramakrishna says, the Nitya and the Leela have the same reality. Sometimes the Nitya, the permanent, the eternal, appears non eternal. When you see the conditioned name and form outside in the world, you will see it as the conditioned Atman, not as the world. That will be a tremendous experience. Okay. Once you realize the Atman, you're not going to see the world as it is. You will see everything as spirit. And this, you will find that the Atman has name and form. It is also in the higher aspect, it is beyond all name and form. So, what is this name and form? Name and form is illusory. Yes, it's true. But Sri Ramakrishna says also that this world will appear as the Atman, as that will be your primary, you can say, experience. The name and form will be secondary. And so, to again recap, your first experience of the Atman will be as the conditioned Atman, which is you, the name and form, your individual soul. And as you keep on going deeper and deeper and deeper, you will find higher and higher and higher aspects where this name and formed Atman, conditioned Atman, slowly melts into the unconditioned. That is the highest realization. And blessed are they who can get this experience. So, what will you see? Here, Sri Ramakrishna says, like, what's a rasgulla taste like? Yeah, it tastes like a rasgulla. You will not be able to describe it, but it will be your experience. You'll be poor at articulating it. But then, as you repeatedly get this realization over and over and again, you will be able to convey it to a slight degree. Okay. We have done similar exercises in some previous classes, and I have had some vivid dreams after them at night. Are these two things related or just coincidence? Yes, you do have very vivid dreams after practicing yoga. You can also have some visions. Some psychic phenomena will also be associated with it. But don't get frightened about it. These are not harmful, they will not harm you. These are kind of like milestones for us to know that your practice is on the right track. Okay. So, psychic phenomena, dreams, intense dreams, and visions. The dreams will mainly be of gods and goddesses, divine or spiritual dreams. That's the idea. Okay. I think yes, we have. Thank you very much for your questions, and we stop here for today. Uh, to briefly do some announcements, tomorrow at 6:30 we have Christmas Eve celebrated here in this chapel. It will be a small puja, worship of Christ, and then we'll have carols, and then we'll have the prasad. That's tomorrow, 24th. Okay. On the 1st, we have a vigil from 2 to 6 p.m. Each devotee or groups of devotees can come and chant their mantra for an hour from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. And we'll and if you are available for the entire time, you can join us for the Vespers. That will be a good start for the new year. For this year, this class approaching meditation will be is the last one, and then we are going to have a winter break. Look out for announcements. So 14th Jan is Swami Vivekananda's birthday, which will also be celebrated with a puja here. And then we'll have Shivaratri and Shri Ramakrishna's puja in February. But the classes and Sunday talks will be suspended for the winter. Thank you very much. So see you tomorrow.